I highly doubt that the fairy type will be the last type we ever get in Pokemon. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT to say what they think would be the next 10 Pokemon types. I am very curious to know what ChatGPT said, so with that said, let's get right into it and see what our next 10 supposed Pokemon types could possibly be. So the next type that ChatGPT predicts we'll get for Pokemon is one that I can maybe see happening, which is the sound type. We will get a sound type Pokemon type, yeah. And according to ChatGPT, this concept will be focused on sound-based moves and Pokemon inspired by music, echoes, and vibrations. It's strong against water and psychic, weak against electric, and example Pokemon are Chatot, Exploud, and Noivern, which is to be expected. This one I could see happening. I think there are enough Pokemon that maybe, well, maybe not enough, we'll see. But I think any Pokemon that relies on music and such, or sounds, for their personality, like, you know, Exploud, Loudred, Chatot. I think it could work. It'd be kind of interesting, but, yeah, I think, there's, like, maybe a 6 out of 10 chance that we could see this in the next couple years. I don't know, but, it's not an impossibility. I think we could see this, but, we'll see. Now, the next one for me is maybe the most likely of the types on this list, and one that I think has a maybe like 9 out of 10 chance of happening, and that is the light type. They think that after the sound type, we'll get a light type in Pokemon. And again, this one I can definitely see happening. We have the dark type. If you need a counter for dark types besides fighting and bug, light type is your answer, you know? So according to ChatGPT, the concept for the light type will be the counterpart to dark type, obviously. Focusing on illumination, purity, and celestial beings. It's strong against dark, ghost, and poison. No doubt about that. Weak against ground. Interesting. And steel reflects light, so it's weak against steel as well. And examples are Xerneas, Ampharos, and Solgaleo. I could see this happening, for real. I think if you need another type to counter dark type, even though dark type isn't really that strong of a type overall, I can see a light type happening. Honestly, I can see them doing a Gen 10 or 11 game that's like about light and dark, and that has like the first ever light type legendary. I could see it happening. I mean, yeah, like, I think in the past I've had like my own thoughts of what I thought they could do for Pokemon types, and I'm pretty sure this one was on that list. I think a light type could be a lot of fun, and there are a lot of Pokemon that could really maybe benefit from having a light type. But, yeah, I think, I can for sure maybe see this happening in the next couple years. We'll see, but, the chances for me of this happening are pretty high. So, after we get the light type, ChatGPT predicts that we will get a type that, again, like the light type, I could see happening for some Pokemon. And that type is a digital type, which is, of course, Pokemon that are computer-based, like Rotom, and Porygon, because they're already like digital-esque, and they could have new ones as well. So according to them, inspired by AI, cyberspace, and database Pokemon, no surprise there. Strong against psychic and normal, okay. Weak against water and electric, that makes sense. And examples include Porygon and Rotom, obviously. I could see this too. I think, like the light type, this one makes sense to have as a type, and there are already Pokemon that kind of embody the whole digital aspect. So chances here for me are like maybe an 8 out of 10 in terms of what I think the odds are of us getting a digital type. But I think the light type for me is definitely the more likely of those two. But again, I could see it. I think the 3 types we already have, which is sound, light, and digital, I could see happening. But we'll see if ChatGPT has maybe better choices down the line, but as far as these first 3, I'm already feeling good. Now, this one I'm not too sure about because there are some Pokemon that kind of embody this whole theme, but I don't know if I see it becoming a type with some other types that already exist. So, ChatGPT predicts that we'll get a Cosmic type, which is, of course, space and extraterrestrial-themed Pokemon like Deoxys, Lunala, Eternatus, and I don't know if I fully see this. So according to them, it's focused on space-related Pokemon, like we just mentioned. Strong against fairy and flying, okay. Weak against steel and dark, I could see that. And then the examples include the ones I just mentioned. I'm not sure about this one. I don't know. I feel like Ghost and Psychic maybe prevent this from being a thing. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not confident on this one. There is a chance they could make it work. Because they could have a whole line of, like, space Pokemon, like Deoxys. But, I don't know about this one. I think this is probably the least likely of the ones we already have so far. But, it's a cool idea, but ChatGPT, I'm not so sure on this one. So remember that Cosmic type that I thought would probably never happen? This one might have a higher chance of never happening, honestly, and that is a Plasma type. I think this one has a 0% chance of happening. I don't see this working, but let's see what they say. So it's a concept, it's a hybrid of fire and electric, representing intense energy states, strong against water and steel, weak against ground and ice, and examples are Zeraora and Magnezone. Yeah, I'm not buying this one. I don't see this happening. A hybrid of fire and electric, like, just make a fire and electric type, like Heat Rotom, for example. That's what you gotta do. That's Plasma right there, if you want to do that, but, this getting its own type, I don't see it ever happening. 0 out of 10, it's not gonna happen ever, but, again, like the Cosmic type, it's a cool idea, but as far as, execution, I don't see it happening. There's probably not enough Pokemon to really embody the whole Plasma aesthetic, honestly, but, yeah, this is not gonna happen. And we continue the streak with types that I don't think will ever happen. I talked about Plasma. This one is even less likely because we already have a type that is pretty much this supposed type by ChatGPT, which is a Wind type. We already have the Flying type. We don't need another Flying S type. I can see Wind type being kind of a cool concept, but again, we have the Flying type. We have, you know, cool wind moves already. I don't think we need a Wind type. So, nothing much to say here. Not gonna ever happen. I don't see it ever being a real type, ever. So, after that streak of types that I don't think will ever happen, I think this one is one that probably may happen. I'm not sure, but, ChatGPT thinks that we will soon, well, not soon, but in the future, we might get a Crystal type Pokemon, type. This one, we already have a bunch that kind of embody Crystal. We have Diancie, we have Carbink, we kind of have Regice if you include, like, Ice as a Crystal. So, this one I think is kind of likely. They say it's a mix of Rock and Ice, which, I mean, make a Rock and Ice type if you want to do that. Represents Gemstones, Minerals, and Refracted Energy. Strong against Fairy and Electric. Weak against Fighting and Fire, makes sense. And, examples are what I just mentioned. So, yeah, on the contrary to Plasma, Wind, and Cosmic, this one I think is kind of in the middle in terms of, if I see it happening. I can see, like, the vision, the concept of like, a Crystal type, but, I mean, we already have the Rock type, which, I mean, just make a Crystal-esque Rock type Pokemon. So, now that I think about it, I don't know if I see it happening anymore, because, again, we have the Rock type, which is kind of like what Crystal would be, and we have the Steel type. So yeah, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna say this will not ever happen, but it is definitely more likely. It's likelier than Plasma, Wind, and Cosmic, but I think there is maybe near I want to say like a 5% chance that this may be a type in the future. Oh man, ChatGPT continues the types that I don't think will ever happen, even though they sound kind of cool on paper, and this one is definitely one of them, because ChatGPT predicts that after the Crystal type, we will get a Beast type, which is basically like prehistoric kaiju creatures, primal creatures like dinosaurs. I mean, we already have Tyrantrum and Aurorus, and we have Tropius, and we have like all the fossil Pokemon. So, I don't see this one happening, but let's see what they said. So they said the concept is prehistoric, primal Pokemon, strong against Steel, makes sense, and Psychic, weak against Dragon, kind of makes sense, and Ice, and examples include Tyranitar, Rillaboom, and Groudon. Yeah, see, on paper, it kind of makes sense to have a Beast type, because there are a lot of Beast-like Pokemon, like the ones I just mentioned, but I can maybe actually see it happening. Like, they could change types. I don't know, because they changed stuff for Fairy type, right? They changed Gardevoir's typing, they changed Azumaro's typing. So, I think they could have, like, a Beast Dragon Tyrantrum, or a Beast and Rock type Tyranitar, or maybe, like, a Grass and Beast type Rillaboom. That'd be kind of cool. And Groudon, too. Like, Groudon's only a Ground type right now, but make him a Ground and Beast type, he's kind of more interesting. So, you know what? Kind of like Crystal, it's kind of middle of the road for me. I can maybe see it happening, but I more so see it not happening. But I'll give this like a 30 to 35% chance of happening. Oh my gosh, this one sounds so cool, like so insanely cool, but I don't think that they could really, truly make it work. So ChatGPT predicts that after the Beast type, and again, I want this to be real, but I don't, like, in my mind, I can see it, like, maybe, you know, coming to fruition, but I don't know if the execution will be what I expected or what I want it to be. So, ChatGPT thinks that we, after the Beast type, will get a Time type. And, again, the concept to me, like, in my mind, it sounds like the coolest thing ever, but I don't know if, like, the execution of it would be what I hope it would be. So, their concept here is, the Time type is about Pokemon that manipulate time flow, aging, and alternate realities, like Celebi, Dialga, and Arceus. Strong against Ghost types and Dark types, and weak against Fairy and Steel type. Yeah, again, like, the concept here, like, I can see it in my mind. I can just picture a Time type, and it sounds like the coolest thing ever. But, I have a hard time seeing it, like, actually lasting and being, you know, a fully functioning thing. So, I'm a bit conflicted here. Like, I want it to personally be real, but I just don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing, like, the full vision. So, I'll give this, like, a 15-20% chance at best of this type actually happening. But, again, I want it to be real deep down, but like my heart says yes, my mind says no. And man, have we saved the best for last, because of all these types, this is the last one that ChatGPT predicts will come to fruition. And this one, I don't think Pokemon would ever want to be a thing because of how violent it sounds. But ChatGPT thinks that we could be getting, in the future, sometime, a nuclear type. And again, it sounds cool. I don't think Pokemon would want this to be a thing because Pokemon is mostly for kids, and I don't think they want kids knowing what nuclear stuff is at that age, and having Pokemon, like, blow up and kill each other and, you know, spew toxic chemicals on humans and other stuff. So, yeah, their concept here is unstable radiation-based Pokemon with high-risk, high-reward moves, strong against grass and water, weak against ground and steel, and examples include Eternatus, Nihilego, and Electrode. Electrode makes a lot of sense for nuclear, for sure. But, yeah, like, the idea is cool. I don't see the Pokemon Company actually utilizing it because, again, it sounds a bit too violent on paper, and they don't want kids to know, like, what nuclear energy can do to organisms. So, yeah, I'm gonna say there is like a 0.02% chance of this ever being a real Pokemon type. And those are all 10 types that ChatGPT thinks will be introduced next in Pokemon, so let me know what you guys thought, and if you have a theme that you want me to do for a future ChatGPT Predicts video, then put it down below in the comments, I might consider it. But I guess till the next one, bye everybody!